Bookstahuda! Here are my new bookshelves, and this is going to be a bookshelf reorganization, but just for the first time organization video. My original plan was to have my reading nook with the chair here over in the corner and have that be like a laptop desk, but it turns out these shelves, which are beautiful, are a little too big for the room so that I would still be able to open the door. So we had to replan a little bit, but it's gonna be okay. But mostly I want to use this kind of like an editing station, so we'll see how it goes. All of my books are currently on the bed in the other room. I have no idea how I want to organize these yet. I don't know. So we'll see. Let's get to it. Hello! Mid-filming or mid-reorganization check-in time. I'm kind of going with themed boxes or themed squares. See how this goes, because I've already had to adjust. Like, I didn't want any books on the top of the shelf, and yet it's already happening because I want, all of these to be together, and there are too many to fit into a square, and they go chronologically anyway, so especially with Cassandra Clare, I think eventually, once she's done writing, if she ever is, there will be an entire shelf, so we're just gonna go with that. I'll check back in later. I'm watching Gilmore Girls right now, so things are happening. Yep. Oh, hello there. Bookstahuda, check it out! My shelves are finished and I'm so excited. They may have been taken over by Funkos. Anyway, I thought we would do a quick tour. I mean, I'm not gonna pull out like every book, that might come later, but so far, I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the lights, but I'm so happy. And they fit so many more books than I thought they would. I mean, especially since I kind of invented another shelf on top, but we'll just take them with that. I'll zoom in, I'll crop in when I'm filming. Okay, so up on top we have kind of series and collections. I want something that gothis here, but this is kind of empty right now. It's not really big enough for the purse that I had here earlier. I don't know. So we have Vampire Academy book sets here. My Nortons, like the older versions, are here. My new pretty rainbow Nortons are here, and then the entire Cassandra Clare oeuvre, if that's the right word, is here. I mean, and that leaves room for it to expand as she continues to write more books. Then I have all my Jane Austen right here. I have all of my poetry that didn't really fit into a different collection over here. This is my Badass Women shelf, and of course we have Captain or Lieutenant Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica reboot. She is amazing. With Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's We Shall Be Feminists, yet again. So I have my Toni Morrison, my Zadie Smith, and then various awesome ladies. Here we have various awesome ladies who write young adult, and Marceline from Adventure Time. So we have Laini Taylor and Susan Dennard and Rainbow Rowell and Lee Bardugo, next to Victoria Schwab, who gets her own square, top center, as she should be. And of course there is a little room to expand. So we've got, the man who inspired Kell's fabulous coat, Jack Harkness, and the 10th Doctor, because they should be together sometime. Then we have more young adults / moving on to like older female fiction. Sarah J. Maas, which I want to buy the rest of them in hardcover, so I'll get them eventually. Raving Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, and a couple other ones that I haven't read yet. And then we have the Tolkien square, which of course will, expand as well. And of course we have Legolas. This was my first Funko. Moving down, why not? Then we have our, Outlander section, and there are actually 2 books that wouldn't fit, and I was just like, whatever. They're duplicates anyway. They're the smaller versions of these. So I have all of my lovely Outlander, and of course Jamie Fraser, as should it be. And we have Dragonlance in like almost a square. And Game of Thrones mixed in there with Drogo and Daenerys and a tiny dragon. We're moving into like my small male weird fiction section. Neil Gaiman will get, this will be a bigger section eventually, I hope, and Kurt Vonnegut and Gatsby seem to fit there because it's written by a man. Fantasy fiction that I've been wanting to read but haven't yet. And for some reason Black Panther and Bucky seemed to belong there, so that's where I put them. And we have the Margaret Atwood shelf, and Gone Girl, because I wanted it on this shelf, but it didn't really fit anywhere else, so... And that's the kind of heroine that Margaret Atwood likes, right? Sort of? I don't know. It'll probably move eventually. Then I have all my Barnes & Noble classics, and the Great Ideas Penguin series, and then we have Vegeta with the hilarious Women's Square box, because why not? We have writing books and reading books, like How to Write and Read, and then a few adult female written fiction that I want to read. Then moving into the male written fiction. Oh yeah, this is actually all male. That was not, except for Alison Bechdel, but that's where it sort of fit in the color scheme and everything, so that's not a jab to Alison Bechdel. I respect her very much. Data just seemed to belong there. He's my newest Funko, I think. And we have Poldark and Gone with the Wind in one box because I had just about enough of both books that they would fit. So moving down here, we've got Shakespeare all the way up to here, and then Agatha Christie. They are both masters of their respective crafts, so that made sense. Here we have kind of books from childhood, so Golden Compass and Dear America series, and the Egypt Game, and the two arcs that I got pertaining to children at BookCon. Then we have kind of the just badass shelf of that I couldn't really figure out what else to put here. I mean, we have Douglas Adams, and the Hamilton and Saga, and Pierce Brown's Red Rising trilogy that I really want to read right now. Like, I'm really into it, even though I haven't even read a page, but I just want to read it. And then we have the Victorian Square, George Eliot and the Brontes. This will probably be prettier eventually. This just kind of how, I mean, this is how it materialized, and it happened to all fit in a square pretty nicely. Then we have other fiction that is, you know, educated type of fiction, and Snape, because he doesn't really fit down here, though this is the J.K. Rowling square. We've got Twilight, which I almost wasn't going to put on the fancy shelf, but I was like, I probably should. And then the Percy Jackson first series, which I still haven't read, but I will soon. Then we've got kind of random fiction that I want to read. Actually, Neverending Story, that's a childhood book. That should go over here. And the Bear and the Nightingale arc should come down here because that's kind of a little more adult anyway. Still, like, there's room for like one more book here, which is rare on this shelf. It's already packed and I just put it together. Here we've got like English professory type texts, you know, Norton Companions to English Literature, History of English, which is, you know, not a fun read, but very good. And then all of my Penguin classic black versions over here, if you can see me, and Penmerrick, and a poetry collection, because they just fit there. And so that is the entire shelf. That is the end of this bookshelf setting up video. It's not as much filming as I would have wanted, but my fiance helped me put it together, thankfully. Like, I really would have had a hard time doing this all alone. It was a lot of, like, it's not difficult, but except for getting the bookshelves to, like, actually go together, because, like, these are held together with pegs, and you can't use a hammer because then it would dent the sides. So we were actually slamming an old dictionary into the sides to get them to fit. But I am very happy with the end result. I'm gonna take a shelfie, shameless, and now I just want to read all the books. I really love the bookshelves, and I hope you do too. And now I really have to stop buying books because they don't fit on here anymore. But I still have my other white shelf over there, so there is room for overflow, but not very much. Oh dear. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and books to Huda!